Hamas armed wing has reaffirmed its commitment to the ceasefire agreement, and the Al-Qassam Brigade has released a statement regarding the captive prisoner exchange, which is happening as of now. These updates came just minutes ago. What we know so far is that 7 living hostages have been released by Hamas. They have been released to the Red Cross. Red Cross will be releasing them, will be sending them across to the IDF squad, waiting to take them for medical checkups, and thereafter they will be back to their homes in Israel. On the other side, what we just mentioned, 2,000 prisoners, as Hamas had wanted, in exchange for the 20 living hostages, are going to be released from Israel. What we know so far is that these prisoners and detainees have been made to board buses. That means they have been released from the Israeli prisons, and they will be making their way back to Nasser Hospital in Gaza, the hospital complex in Gaza, where they will be reunited. These are the updates we have for you at this hour. The IDF has confirmed that Red Cross received 7 hostages from Hamas in Gaza City. And this is according to information provided by the Red Cross. 7 hostages have been transferred into their custody. 7 out of 13. These 7 seem to have made it out soon as we started receiving inputs. This is early in the day in Gaza, so this is going exactly as per plan. There seem to be no hiccups anywhere that could throw this off balance. Trump is on his way, and he is watching this live coverage coming in from Gaza. This is the other update we received. He's watching this very closely as he's expected to be in Israel, very, very shortly, where he is expected to receive a hero's welcome. All right, and joining me on the broadcast, who has been with me, is Ambassador Suri. Ambassador Suri, all seems to be going as per plan, sir, and it seems they are on course. Perhaps this exchange is going to be completed before Trump lands in Israel. Maybe that's the kind of setting that Trump would also want to arrive in Israel at. Do you see it going exactly as per plan, or do you have any hint of something because in a volatile region like this, it really doesn't take much to throw things off course? How do you see this one going forward? 7 out of the 20 living hostages have been released by Hamas, and on the other end, prisoners have boarded buses to reach Gaza.
Yeah, look, I think that, this first phase seems to be going well. There are issues still at hand. As far as the Israelis are concerned, there's the issue of the remains of the 28 hostages who are suspected to have died one way or the other over the last 2 years. And as we've heard, some of those remains are hard to access, might be under rubble, and might take time for them to be exhumed and so on. So I think there is one potential wrinkle over there, because the agreement is return of all hostages, dead and living. And from the Palestinian side, again, there are a number of high-profile detainees whose names figured in the list that Hamas gave. There's a very popular leader called Marwan Barghouti, for example, who is widely seen as a unifying figure amongst the Palestinians. And, the Israelis have said they are not releasing him. Nor are they releasing some of the doctors that have been arrested and others whose release have been sought. So I'm sure there are going to be further backroom negotiations on mutually agreed lists, because what I read is that a number of names that were in the Palestinian list for release have not been accepted by Israel.
Ambassador Suri, and we were discussing this a little earlier as well. For anybody who's just tuning in, while this is a brilliant move forward, a highly welcomed, move of the hostages finally coming back home after over 2 years, the underlying causes which caused this entire ruckus in the last 2 years, that Israelis would and Palestinians would understand better than anyone else in the world, those issues still remain. And what we just learned earlier is that the Israeli Prime Minister has already made this statement that Hamas has started rearming, and the battle is not over. and then Palestinian statehood is not resolved. Those are far more than wrinkles. Is this only setting a stage for, I mean, if I were to just take that chance and say it, another conflict?
Look, I hope not. The Palestinians deserve better. The Israelis deserve better. The region deserves better. I just hope that wiser counsel will prevail on the certainly on retaining or pulling back some of the belligerence of the parties involved. I am worried because, you know, there are members of the Israeli government at present who have almost a messianic belief that this land is promised to us by God and as per the Bible and all of that, and that from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea, everything in between is ours. You know, the Knesset has already passed a resolution last year saying no to a Palestinian state. You know, with this kind of black and white rhetoric that emerges out of Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, it's hard to be optimistic that they are willing to address the underlying causes. So the skepticism that I have comes from the previous failures, you know, starting off with Camp David during the Clinton administration, then the whole Madrid process and the Oslo agreements, where you actually thought that there's a Palestinian Authority now and there's a 5-year transition period to a Palestinian state. And today we are further away from that objective that the Oslo Accords set forth in such detail than we ever were. And there are more lands being grabbed illegally by Israeli settlers with the full support of the armed forces and the government. So if you see no willingness to address that issue, then where does peace really come from? How does it become durable? And the only player who can make that happen in some form or another is the United States. And perhaps President Trump, with the force of his personality, is the one who can prevail upon a very wily figure like Prime Minister Netanyahu, who will otherwise continue to play for time and sort of work on the premise that time is in his favor, that the longer they keep playing with this, the more encroachments that they continue to create on Palestinian land in occupied West Bank, the further the goal of a Palestinian state will recede.